Hey, moron! Hey, moron! Dude! Look at me! I'm the waterboard, dude!
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes, of course, here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is Tuesday, and this is the NFL players' day off. And then tomorrow they get back out on the field, getting ready for week number 5 in the NFL season. The Cowboys, of course, having a couple extra days to rest, but of course, looking like they're going to be losing DeMarcus Lawrence for possibly up to 8 weeks. And Micah Parsons yesterday in a walking boot, saying, of course, that he hopes to be able to play, not ruling himself out. But you have to feel like he's not going to play this week. You have to feel like he's probably going to be done until the bye week is over. I'm going to say that universally right now, Cowboy fans and Eagle fans are agreeing on something. This is kind of crazy because we all saw Micah Parsons' podcast yesterday. Now, keep in mind, this is a time right now where he's injured, and you don't know where we are. We're a 2-2 team, and we're seeing the Lions seemingly separating themselves from the NFL. Jared Goff with an incredible game last night. Seeing the Commanders right now with their rookie quarterback, who's in the MVP conversation, be it it's very, very early, seeming to have turned their narrative around, but it's still early. And Micah, with the possibility of being out multiple games, we had this yesterday, which just kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Something with, chucking it up, laughing and giggling and happy and everything else with your enemy and their demise is kind of crazy.
Man, your dog CJ, man, he had some stuff said before the game. He struck again, bro.
Man, bro, that's my dog.
And before we get into this, bro, I'm not trying to, y'all know, bro, I'm all positive, bro. I'm not trying to attack CJ at all. Right. I know he took what I said personally, and before I even get into it, who we think he is, in terms of how we feel, bro, we all in the NFL. How one of us saying that another person don't belong here, they just that type of person, you feel me though? Even with a Pro Bowl, All Pro, we still could be humbled at any moment. We still gonna get beat. I'ma still get locked up maybe for a game or a rep. It's just a game of football. It's just how it happens.
It happens.
So
it happens, man.
What's your thought on that, bro?
Yeah, hey, one thing I know about 8, man. 8 go bring the noise. 8 go bring the energy. And 8 go bring all the trash talking that half the team's not doing. So he fulfilled that need for us. You know what I'm saying? He a guy with a lot of energy. He go talk that trash, but hey, you go talk, you gotta back it up at some point in time. And if you don't, he know for sure that media go catch it on the attention, and he gotta be ready to answer every time. Because if he don't, the media go on his ass every time. But what's up with him, man. You know what's up with him. He gonna do it. Now, hey, I told him do your thing, man. But hey, now you don't perform the way you want to perform, they gonna get back on you.
Bro.
So I'm gonna say, as bad as I think this feels for the Cowboys and seeing Micah Parsons, Eagle fans should be even feeling worse because you got destroyed. You got destroyed the day before, and your player is yucking it up and laughing as as one of his teammates is getting trashed. Okay, let's be clear. Dude said, we gonna put belts to asses. Old school type of a reference. That's like saying, we gonna open up a fresh can of ass whipping. And proceeded to do nothing. Nada, zero, zilch, zingo, nothing. And your teammate is sitting here laughing up with your rival. oh, my boy, yeah, he got. What the hell? I'm old school. I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. But be that as it may, it is what it is. So for us, as much as we like to dream, we can dream. There's Hassan Reddick that's out there, okay? The Eagles can't trade for him. They can't trade back for him until he's been gone for 2 years or goes to another team. So the Eagles, that dream is not going to happen. He could be that, the Cowboys, if they wanted to, that they could make a move to try and bring him back. To bring him here. But the Cowboys aren't going to do that. We've talked about Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper seems to be, worn out his welcome in Cleveland and could be a trade candidate. They changed his contract where his contract is very tradable because it's basically $941,000 for this year. And basically Cleveland would take a $22 million dead hit next year. They're going to take that dead hit either way. He's a free agent after that, so you would need to go ahead and do a new contract with them. So the reality is they can move him or they can keep him. But he seems to be another one of the distractions. And at this moment, the best thing for Cleveland is the way things are going with Deshaun Watson and everything else. If they can get a third round or a second round pick for Amari Cooper on a season that's going downhill, then you make that move to help yourself down the road. So that's a possibility here. But the reality is the Cowboys probably won't do a damn thing. And I'm looking for my cell phone. I must have left it downstairs because I wanted to pull up the stats. One of the problems with the Cowboys offense is the lack of separation. People want to say, well, Dak's not throwing the ball to anybody. Dak's not hitting it. Well, Dak is not going to turn the ball over, just like his mom instilled in him as a little leaguer. Don't turn over the football. And he's not going to go ahead and throw the football when you've got less than two, when you've got no space to throw it in. The guy's not open. I get it. People will say, throw it. He ain't hitting nobody. Why is he checking down? Because the guys are covered. The best we have done in separation in any week this year has been 19th. But we've been living in the high 20s. And that's because it's basically CeeDee Lamb and the other guys are still young and growing or old and possibly injured. And that's where having another playmaker would help. But we've got the Joneses who, of course, their ammunition right now is, well, you saw the Eagles, they brought in Bryce Huff and, they brought in White, the linebacker, they traded for Dotson, they brought in a genius like Kellen Moore, and they look to be worse than we are. So, we believe in what we're doing here with the Cowboys, and we believe in our guys, and that's what we're going to get. So getting reinforcements from the outside, we can discuss it all we want, but the reality is that don't mean damn thing when it comes to the Cowboys. And my wife just brought me a plate up here. Must be getting close to my birthday or something. Okay. Wow. I feel like today's my birthday. Thank you, honey. I've been just as happy she just flashed me her boobs. But that's a guy thing. Forgive me on that one. But anyway, we're not bringing anybody in. So we're going to need players to step up, and maybe some tweaking and things will happen. Interesting thing here. I want to go on, and I haven't talked about it, and I've been meaning to. It's just been, life has been crazy with the floods and all that, and running back and forth and stuff. But I wanted to talk about Mazi Smith, okay? We have everybody who's been on board that said that Mazi is a bust. I get Mazi missing in action and Mazi pad and everything else. And what I told you is Mazi's very young. Mazi hurt his shoulder at the Thanksgiving game last year. And that, of course, slowed down his development. He never was a Dan Quinn favorite, so he didn't necessarily get as much work as you would have liked to have seen. And I want you to understand something. Do you know how many games Mazi Smith has started in his career? Just 4. Just 4. We heard Mike Zimmer literally say we're basically starting from scratch, that we're going to the fundamentals with Mazi. And so, in essence, you might as well look and say that Mazi is a rookie. Now, I told you guys how Mazi was always the first guy out on the field and the last one to leave, that he was like a sponge trying to suck up as much knowledge as possible. Well, the reality of football is the only way you really play football now is in a game. All the practice in the world is not the same as full-time speed on the field. And here's what's kind of interesting. For those Eagle fans out there that are always talking about how great Jordan Davis is, and Jordan Davis is now in his 3rd year. If I told you guys that right now this year, with Mazi Smith doing absolutely nothing the 2 first games, no tackles, no quarterback hits, no pressures, no assists, nothing, that Mazi Smith and Jordan Davis's numbers right now are identical for the season. Let's go to the tape here. Let's take a look here. If we look at Jordan Davis's numbers, started 4 games this year. He's got 1 sack. That's the only thing that he has over Mazi right now is he has 1 sack, but has a combined 6 combined tackles. Now, see, there's a difference on when you say combined, that's total. See, falling onto the pile is an assist. Solo tackles mean you brought him down by yourself, okay? So he's got 3 solo tackles and 3 assists and 1 tackle for a loss. Let's look at Mazi here. Mazi, the last two games, he's had 3 tackles combined. But 5 of those, 5 tackles that he has this year are solo tackles. That means he's the only guy that took the runner down and 1 tackle for a loss. The only difference is Jordan Davis, again, Mazi has had more solo tackles. Jordan Davis has a sack. But if those Eagle fans out there that are saying Mazi Smith is a bust going into his 2nd year where he's only started 4 games, Jordan Davis has started 26 games. 26 games in his career. Mazi has started 4, and all 4 of those have been this year. And right now, their numbers are identical. I'm not sure we can continue to say that Mazi is Mazi Pad or Mazi is a bust. So that is a big plus. And if Mazi continues to get better as the season goes on, that's going to be one of the things that really helps us as far as not having Micah Parsons. Because, see, here's the thing. I always tell you guys, if you're saying, where would you invest on your defense, okay? I would always say a great interior defensive lineman will be the biggest bang for your buck. The Cowboys don't believe this philosophy, okay? But here's the thing. A great interior defensive lineman helps all 3 levels. You can get one great cornerback, but that doesn't necessarily help the defensive lineman and the linebacker in the same way. A great defensive lineman who can get penetration, quarterbacks don't like to step up. Then for your defensive ends, your edge rushers that are usually getting washed past the quarterback because the quarterback can step up, he can't step up. You get more sacks on your edges because of having a great interior defensive lineman. A push in the quarterback's face also speeds up the play. He wants to get rid of it because he doesn't like people at his knees. So he's going to do the play faster. That helps out your defensive backs because now instead of having to hold up like we've seen Aaron Rodgers 5-6 seconds, if you're giving me 2.5 seconds or less, then I'm getting an advantage against the receiver. The deep routes are taken away. Also, having a big man pushing up the middle with an offensive lineman on him with his hands up obscures a lot of the view for the quarterback. Now I'm looking, he's got to look sideways and around him and move around to try and find his targets. And it helps there. an interior defensive lineman that takes up double teams means there's somebody who's free. And generally speaking, that's the linebackers that can roam and play downhill and tackle running backs going forward. So that's where you look at it and say, that's the biggest bang you're going to get for the buck is an interior defensive lineman. You can have a great linebacker, but if the linebacker's constantly got people in his lap, he's not going to be that effective. So those are the things that I say about having a Mazi Smith. And if Mazi Smith can come around and continue to play like this, all of a sudden you're looking at a totally different defensive front, and it makes everybody else better. And that would be, I hope, going forward, is that Mazi Smith can really make some hay in the middle, and that will hold our defense together. Our offense, of course, I still think we need a playmaker to go along with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, they got him going Thursday really well, but there's going to be games where he's going to be taken out, and you need somebody else to be able to step up. So we'll see where we go there. Now, the big question is, of course, it's nice to see the Eagles imploding right now, and the Commanders seem to have the stranglehold at the moment of the division, but it's looking more and more like, surprisingly, the Lions and the Minnesota Vikings are two of the better teams in the NFC right now. And that's kind of crazy. Last night, Jared Goff was 18 of 18, and I believe that was an NFL record. Let's go to the tape here and listen to the talking heads praising the Lions.
NFL record for most attempts without an incompletion in a game. The previous record was Kurt Warner in 2005, who had only thrown 10 balls in that game. So, Dan Graziano, I feel like there's been a lot of, with all the talk about how good Minnesota has been, this was supposed to be, and is supposed to be Detroit's year. We're only a quarter of the way into the season. But they've sort of gotten forgotten a little bit with the great coaching job in Green Bay and what they've been doing in Minnesota. Did the Lions and their quarterback in particular last night remind everybody of something?
I think so. I think it was an important night for the Lions to kind of muscle up and be like, all right, look, we still are the team in the NFC that you're going to have to beat. Like, look, they're playing. It's important to note that Seattle was playing without 4 defensive starters, and that obviously had some kind of impact. But Seattle's a good team, and the Lions took it to them. I think you saw a lot of different things. That Jameson Williams catch reminded me of a conversation I had in training camp with their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and he was talking about Jameson Williams and saying, we feel like we can use him on different throws than we used to, like in the middle of the field. Like, he's not just going to be a downfield speed guy, that he really made those kinds of advancements this year. And I think when you look at a team that was 30 minutes away from the Super Bowl last year, how could they improve? That's one area where they start to look a little scary.
I love the Lions, but you get a little nervous about calling them the best team in the NFC when you look at what's happening on the other side of the ball. They still have not been able to manufacture a consistent pass rush. Right. The DBs haven't stepped up to the level that we expected when they drafted Arnold in the first round and when they brought over Carlton Davis. These guys, Carlton Davis had a tough time last night, but to be fair, everyone has a tough time against DK Metcalf.
6'4", 250, and fast.
So that division may have the 3 best teams in the NFC. Absolutely. If you wanted to argue that in some order, Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay look like they may be the 3 best teams in the NFC, and I get it. I hear you, Tampa. I hear people will have an argument to be made here, and Washington, and there's a long way to go. The 49ers are banged up, a lot of injuries out there. But which is the best team in that division? If I would ask you, when all is said and done, which one of those 3 teams is going to wind up?
I'm going to say Minnesota Vikings, and I'll say it.
You're buying in.
I am. But here's why. Pressure. That's the why I'm giving them a slight advantage. And listen, Sam Darnold has played fantastic football, but again, he doesn't have to be the best player week in and week out for them to win. And same for Detroit.
Yeah, I think Jeff almost won me over to joining him because of the defense, but there's a difference between Sam Darnold and Jared Goff. So you're right. I think I think with Justin Jefferson as an ultimate playmaker in a real defense, I like the Vikings a little bit better, but I've seen that quarterback Jared Goff make plays to get his team to the Super Bowl, frankly.
Well, yeah, and he's right. It's not the first time he made those big-time throws in the playoffs. Yeah, I think the Lions on the back end of the defense will get better. They're counting on a rookie back there. I imagine he'll improve as the season goes along. And, they need to find something to augment Aiden Hutchinson in the pass rush.
Yeah. You know why I like Green Bay? Because they have a quarterback who's not on that level. They have a quarterback who's a level up. Let Jordan Love get healthy. It's early in the season.
It is.
He almost brought them all the way back in that crazy game the other day against Minnesota. This is going to be a great divisional race. They may be right now the 3 best teams in the NFC. In the meantime, the other game last night, the Dolphins and the Titans, and you've got Tua on the side, of course, not playing. First quarter, Will Levis, and doing things that, quite candidly, we're sort of getting to know him well for, just throwing the ball directly to the other team.
Oh, a defensive back's friend and a D lineman's friend. Throw it to whoever's on the other color jersey.
I didn't see him at all.
Oh, that's good.
I think we've identified the problem.
Big guy.
Dolphins take over near midfield. They couldn't capitalize. This wasn't an artistic masterpiece, folks. I'm not going to lie to you here. Here's a bad moment from Levis here. Diving, Jeff. What do we see there on the shoulder?
Yeah, he's stretching out, lands on that right shoulder, and you could tell he smarted as soon as he hit the ground, going to the sideline, getting looked at. Not a good sign.
So I know what you were wondering. Who is Tennessee's backup? Well, it's Mason Rudolph. He's in at quarterback.
You got to depend on your run game, right? That's where you're going to have to go, and that's what Tennessee did last night.
Yeah, Cowboys much better off without him. And then Tajay Spears taking it in for the score. Titans go on to win it somewhat easily by a score of 31-12, so no longer on the list reserve. He's missed 2 games since suffering his 4th diagnosed concussion over the last 5 years. Last night, Adam Schefter gave this update on his condition.
The fact of the matter is, he has been symptom-free, and he has been meeting with neurologists. And I don't believe that anybody's told him anything right now to dissuade him from want to playing. And I think there's a feeling here that he is bound to come back. And for all the talk there was about Tua Tagovailoa and how he should stop playing and how he should retire, the fact of the matter is there's a real possibility that when his 4 games are up on injured reserve, that he's going to be back in the Miami Dolphins lineup.
So, look, I mean, there's the emotion of the moment, right? I mean, we were all in here on the morning after that game, and you have that immediate visceral reaction, and so many people watch it and they say, oh my goodness, he should never play again. And then a little time goes by and he gets whatever it is he hears from his doctors. I mean, clearly my position is, and always has been, this is his decision to make with his family and all the rest of that. But it sounds like that decision has been made.
Yeah, and you can tell by the Dolphins and what they've done, they believe he's coming back. So whatever conversations have been had, I mean, I would have.
Some people still believe that the Cowboys should be trying to trade Trey Lance to Miami to help them out, or even Tennessee, because of course, trying to get something. One final note here. It's funny because, like I was started out here with Micah Parsons and not being a good look. Lord Brunson, who is one of the most vocal content creators there for the Eagles, literally is going off. And this is a tweet that he had yesterday. You think Micah had you on here because he likes you? You're here because as a whole, the defense is a laughingstock. You too, buddy. You too, buddy, and Joe, to see it, though. You wear a C on your jersey, bro. How can you go to the locker room and be taken seriously after this? Be serious after this chatty patty shit. Yeah, Eagle fans are pissed right now about that. So I guess maybe I could end up looking at it from the standpoint of he just dropped a bomb in the middle of the Eagles locker room. So yeah, I guess that's like that. All right, good people. I hope you all are having a great day. It's Taco Tuesday, and I hope all your taco dreams come true. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm laughing at the Eagles and can't wait for tomorrow's Dan Saleo show. Peace.